Welcome back to episode 35 of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. This week we'll recap round 2 of the SMX playoffs from St. Louis. A fun round with some unexpected results and a shakeup in the points in both classes going into next week's finale. Let's get right into it. Starting as always with the 250 class, and like I mentioned in the intro, new winners this week. Joe Shimoda going 2-2 on the afternoon for the win. Feeling sick throughout the day, did not look as fast as we are used to him seeing in these last few rounds, but really gritty ride to put a 2-2 on the board. Great starts for Joe and just stayed put, honestly. Rode it in for the overall after some mistakes and some mayhem for some other riders. Just really good. He's now the red plate holder going into next week. Things are going to get really interesting, I would imagine. Second place on the day, Seth Hamaker going 3-3 on the day. Similar to Joe, Seth didn't have the all-out speed on the afternoon that we saw from some of the other guys and that we saw from him last week, really. But he did ride really well, had a great start in Moto 1, had a decent start in Moto 2, and rode his way forward and took advantage of some mistakes from other riders and just did a really good job of riding it in, 3-3 on the day. Third place on the afternoon, a shocker for me, Nate Thrasher going 6-4 on the day. Again, if anybody took advantage of the mayhem, it was Nate. With 6-4 scores, the Olympic scoring here, 10 points on the board is not often going to get you on the podium in a class as deep as this one, but really good riding there from Nate Thrasher. Up and down, as we've seen from him all year, his entire career, really, but some good riding and put together 2 solid motos to get on the podium. Fourth place, Ty Masterpool, 4-6 on the day. Maybe the best riding we've ever seen from Ty Masterpool, truly, when you really look at things. We know he's not a supercross guy. He's failed to make more main events than he's made, much less finished in the top 4. Just some really solid riding here from Ty Masterpool. Even last week, of course, he didn't have the moto overall scores last week, but he looked really fast all day. Looked good in the LCQ last week. Came in again through the LCQ this week, of course, the wildcard race. And goes 4-6 on the afternoon. Really great riding there from Ty Masterpool, showing under all circumstances that he can do it under what was basically a supercross track without whoops, right? Fifth place on the day, Tom Vial going 10-1. Really good starts in both motos. Obviously, what we expect to see from Vial, what he's done his entire career over in MXGP and in America. But really good riding there again in Moto 2. He got the whole shot and just rode away from everybody. Like I said, Joe was sick and just didn't have the all-out speed, and Tom Vial held the lead the entire race. There was really no pressure at all from Joe the whole time. So really good there from Tom Vial to bounce back, especially after Moto 1. He rode well, but I believe he was in 4th or 5th and just kind of started to fade. We know they have had issues with the fork and the shock fading. And he said later in an interview that he did make a change, or had the mechanics make a change in between motos. And to go out there and put a 1 on the board after fading so badly and showing that you can do it was just really unbelievable, honestly. So really great ride there from Tom Vial. It kind of harkens back to RJ Hampshire last year, complaining about the bike constantly. And as soon as they fixed it, he went out there and won. It's really cool to see that progression and see that, there is a real issue at hand at times. On the inverse of that, 6th place, Hayden Deegan going 1:14 on the day. Obviously, did Hayden Deegan things in Moto 1. Got out front early, rode away. Nobody had anything for him. He is the best 250 rider on the planet, despite maybe what the results say, right? Unfortunately, in turn 4 or 5 in Moto 2, he got completely taken out by Levi Kitchen. It is what it is at this point, right? But he completely lost his front brake. Unfortunately, was only able to get back to 14th. Riding on a track like that we know was hard to pass on. We did see some passes made in some of the classes, but riding without a front brake is really going to push him, put him at a disadvantage there. So unfortunate to only get back to 14th, but great to salvage a 6 on the day. And going into, of course, a triple points weekend next week. And hopefully still with a chance to win this thing. 7th place on the day, Jordan Smith, 11-5. Kind of what he did in motocross, 1 ride outside of the top 10, 1 ride in the top 10. He did look really good in Moto 2 for that 5th place finish. So solid there for Jordan Smith. Would like to see him put 2 motos together. 8th place, Dax Bennick, 9-7 on the day. Solid riding there from Dax and a good bounce back from last week where he had a tough afternoon. Ninth place, Max Anstey, similar to Dax, 8-8 on the day for Max Anstey. Kind of a rough week last week. Knowing what Max can do on a supercross track, and this being more of a supercross track, and how well he was riding early in the year, really good bounce back there for Max Anstey. Maybe look to see him inside that top 5, maybe in one of these motos next week. I think is really doable for him. I should mention there how many Star Racing Yamaha guys we had inside the top 10. Nate Thrasher, Dax, Max Anstey, Hayden Deegan, unbelievable. Cole Davies finished 11th after an unfortunate fall there, but really cool to see all 4 or 5 of the guys, in that top 11 there. 10th place, Levi Kitchen, 5-12. I mentioned the issue in Moto 2 where he did completely take out Deegan. Unfortunately, he took out himself as well. Was up front and did ride well in Moto 1. I'm not sure the takeout was entirely called for. I think he could have probably finished inside the top 5 again in Moto 2 had he not taken himself down, but just unfortunate. Sometimes that's the way it goes, right? Not sure why he did what he did, but it is what it is. At least he was racing to win there. 11th place, as I mentioned, was Cole Davies. 7-11 on the day, an unfortunate fall in Moto 2. He was going for 4th place. He was trying to go get Nate Thrasher there, and did go down in the sand and lost quite a few positions. Again, could have been well within that top 10 with the rest of the star guys. Look to see a big bounce back from Cole Davies next week and see what he can do after 2 kind of, mid, I want to say, SMX races, and seeing what he's done, obviously, in Supercross, and obviously going out and winning that moto in motocross in his short time back. 12th place on the day, Drew Adams, 13-9, solid riding there. 13th, Ryder DeFrancisco, 12-10 on the afternoon. Quiet riding from Ryder D this year in SMX. We saw how good he was last year, and he did have a good moto last week, but kind of quiet. Maybe look for a bounce back for him next week. 14th, Garrett Marchbanks, 14-13. We know he's injured, so solid ride there. 15th, Dylan Schwartz, 16-15 on the afternoon. 16th, Cullen Park, 15-7, a good bounce back from last week. 17th overall, Lux Turner going 17-16 on the day. 18th, Parker Ross going 18-18. 19th, Hunter Yoder going 20-19. 20th place, Cole Thompson, after not making it last week, makes it in this week, 19-21. 21st on the afternoon, Gage Linville did not qualify through the wildcard race, but did jump in Moto 2 after Henry Miller was hurt and unable to start. 22nd, Dustin Rodbell going 21-22 on the day, and 23rd, Henry Miller, as I mentioned, got hurt there, so going 22 DNS on the day, unfortunately. As the points run going into next week's finale, Joe Shimoda has a 10-point lead on Hayden Deegan. He's got 92 total points. Hayden has 82. And Seth Hamaker has 78 points for 3rd place. That 5 points that Seth Hamaker lost last week is really going to hurt him in the overall. He could realistically be in a winner-take-all situation had he not lost those 5 points. He would have 83 points and would be sitting within 9 of Joe Shimoda. The way that Joe and Hayden have been riding, you would think these guys are going to finish 1-2, but Seth has also been riding great. And I mean, honestly, Hayden's going to jack with Joe next week. Anything can happen. I hope he kind of thinks about it because Seth's going to be right there. Seth's going to be sitting in 3rd place, and if something happens that takes both of these guys down, Seth is going to be the one to jump on it, and maybe he can be the one to kind of play spoiler and maybe be the dark horse to win this thing in the 250 class. As I mentioned that, I don't know why they don't remind the announcers that each one of these events is Olympic scoring, and then they get one overall combined and multiplied, so the single, double, triple. They keep calling it like it's motocross scoring. This is 2 weeks in a row. Last week it was Stu. This week it was Weege. I don't know. It's driving me nuts, but it is what it is. But if the guys are telling, if you hear next week on the call that somebody needs to get 9th place to jump up a spot, which they kept saying about Deegan in the second moto this week, which was just factually untrue according to the math. Maybe do the math yourself before that. Moving over to the 450 class, and wow, honestly, both motos really exciting. Hunter ran away with Moto 1, but there was a lot of action going on behind the pack. Moto 2, we just had guys fighting for the lead the entire race. It was really awesome to watch. And for all the people saying that the racing wasn't great this weekend, whatever, those were 2 great motos from my standpoint. Like I said, first place, Hunter Lawrence getting round two, getting his third round two win of the SMX playoffs of all three. He's won every single round two that he's raced in. Obviously, the first year he was in the 250 class. They talked about it a lot on the program this weekend. Last year he won round two, and again this year. So maybe Mr. Round Two. Hunter Lawrence going 1-3 on the day. Great starts, exactly what we're used to from Hunter Lawrence. And just rode his own race in Moto 1 while the guys battled behind him. Jet had a really bad start. The other guys, kind of fell into this teeter-totter thing, and Hunter just kind of rode away with it. Third place in Moto 2, but did ride really well, kept Jet and Eli in touch the entire moto, and actually put on a charge with Eli there late for what could have been the win. Obviously, Jet held on, but Hunter did a really strong moto to win the overall. Second place, Jet Lawrence, 4-1. Like I said, terrible start in Moto 1. Made a ton of passes. Looked really good doing it in Moto 1. Showing that he is the fastest guy on the planet, truthfully. But he had a really good ride. Almost caught up to Eli and Ken there on the last lap. Almost actually got Eli at the line. It was really close. Had the finish line been another start straight back, he probably would have gotten him, and maybe could have even gotten Ken with how close they were, truthfully. Winning in the second moto, of course, he did get the whole shot there and rode away, did the Jet thing, held that 2-second lead the entire race. Got held up with some lappers with about 2 laps to go, and then had to kind of put on a charge of his own to hold off Eli and Hunter there late, but just rode great. Really good riding there from Jet to salvage second. Third place, Eli Tomac. I keep mentioning it, 3-2 on the day, but he looked really, really, really good. He looked just as good as Hunter and Jet and Ken. He was, he looked to be one of the guys. The same thing that we saw from him last year in SMX. He really thrives in these SMX typed rounds. Obviously, it's Eli Tomac. He is second all-time in wins in combined classes. So saying he excels in a certain discipline seems crazy. But he has done really well in these SMX races over the years. And honestly, he's got to be tired of sharing the podium with Hunter and Jet at this point. It's been really cool to see kind of the passing down of it. Obviously, Eli wishes he was winning, and we all wish to see Eli maybe shaking it up a bit more, but really great again just to see him on the podium, to still have speed, and to still mathematically be in this thing for the championship. Fourth place, Ken Roczen going 2-5 on the day. Looked really good in Moto 1. Held off Eli for the entire race. Looked really fast. Moto 2, he just had a bad start, but he was pressuring Cooper Webb there at the finish line for fourth place. So a really good day from Ken Roczen, and really showing that he is still Ken Roczen on his day, right? So just really good riding, and good to see that kind of from the old guys, right? Eli and Ken. Fifth place, Cooper Webb, 8-4 on the day. Everybody said coming in through to today with a more supercross style track that Webb would be really good, and he was. Moto 1, he was a bit further back and only got up to 8th, but in Moto 2, he did, again, hold off Kenny for fourth place. So solid ride there from Webb. The best, maybe second best overall SMX playoff round of his career. So again, good ride there for Cooper Webb. Sixth place, RJ Hampshire. RJ's riding really good. The results have not shown it necessarily, but he is still looking really good aboard the 450 for the first time in SMX, going 7-6 on the day. Really excited to see what RJ does in Supercross next year. I really think he's going to be on a handful of podiums, even with how stacked this field is going to be. Seventh place, Chase Sexton. A rough afternoon in Moto 2 specifically, getting a fifth in Moto 1. He looked okay, but Jet got up to him and just made a really quick pass on him, and he had nothing for him, which dropped him back to fifth. Moto 2, he was riding again in fourth for most of the moto, actually up until the last lap, and then just had a really bad last lap and dropped 6 positions to 10th place. Still unsure what happened there, but 7th place on the afternoon is probably going to put Chase mathematically out of the points hunt unless something goes extremely wild next week in the 450 class. So again, an odd afternoon for Chase Sexton, but it is what it is there. 8th place, Jay Coop, 6-11 on the day. Rough start in Moto 2. Moto 1, he just really didn't have anything for the top 5 guys, but he was riding well. 9th place, Joey Savacci. Here goes that Joey Savacci, Dylan Ferrandis, Justin Barsha group finding themselves yet again going 9, 10, 11 on the afternoon. Joey did take the lead on these guys this weekend, going 11-7, rode well. Dylan Ferrandis didn't notice him much, going 10-8, and Justin Barcia going 9-9 on the day. Solid riding from these guys, about, again, where we expected. I say this every week. I've said this since Ferrandis and Barcia jumped back into the motocross series, and then coming back into SMX last week with Joey Savacci. He kind of filled in Malcolm Stewart's spot when Malcolm got injured, right? 12th place on the day, Benny Bloss, 14-13 on the day. That's a really good ride, actually, for Benny Bloss. 13th, Cody Schock, 16-12 on the afternoon. Unfortunately, went down early in Moto 1. We saw kind of a nasty crash there for Cody Schock. Surprised to see him get back to 16th with the way that crash went. But a 12th place, a really good bounce back from Cody Schock, knowing that he's a guy who can be top 10 in this class. 14th, Valentin Guillaud, 13-16 on the afternoon. 13th is really good for Guillaud, honestly, in the SMX format. We know he's never raced Supercross before, so that's a really good moto finish there. 15th, Justin Hill, 18th, 14. Just assume Jay Hill's out of shape, right? He hasn't raced in motocross, hasn't raced since the end of Supercross, of course. So 15th, not surprising there from Justin Hill. 16th, Marshall Welton, going 15-18 on the day. 17th, Mitchell Harrison, 19-15. 18th, Shane McElrath, 17-17. I said this last week. I'm surprised Shane is not a bit closer to Joey and Dylan and Barcia in that group. But again, he didn't race much motocross, only 2 rounds, and he didn't fare very well there. So probably having some fitness issues late in the season. 19th, Mitchell Oldenburg, going 12-22 on the day. That 12 is actually a really good finish there for Oldenburg. 20th overall, Kyle Chisholm, 2019's getting his first SMX points of the season after not qualifying last week. 21st, Dean Wilson, who did go down in Moto 1, going 22-20 on the day. Unfortunate there for Dean Wilson. And then 22nd, rounding everything out, is Jeremy Hand, going 21-21 on the day. The points as they sit going into the finale, the triple points finale, of course. Jet 91, Hunter 85, and Eli 75. These are the top 3. These are the only 3 guys probably that have a chance at winning this thing again, unless something completely wild goes on. Jet and Hunter riding really well right now. It's going to be a winner take all between Jet and Hunter. Eli is down 16 to Jet, so something would, have to go kind of crazy. The points gap between first and third next week is 15 total points. So Jet would have to finish 4th, which he hasn't done in quite a while. And Eli would have to win next week. And even with that, if Hunter is to fill in, in second or third, he could still win the championship with a 10-point lead there on Eli Tomac. So more than likely, we will see another 1-2 SMX finish, at least from the Lawrence brothers there. Again, the point structure next week, triple points. 75 goes to the winner, 66 for the runner-up, and 60 for third place. So again, that is the Supercross points tripled, right? So Olympic scoring per motos, and then triple the overall scores there. So again, a winner-take-all between Jet and Hunter, just like last year. Obviously, last year Hunter was the red plate holder. And Jet was in the catbird seat, but this year roles reversed. But regardless, with the way that things lie, this is a winner-take-all with only 6 points between them. That's all we've got this week. Again, Vegas next week, the overall season, Supercross, Motocross, SMX finale, the playoff finale, the end of it all. Should be a really great race. Really excited to watch. If you want to give us a follow on X, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, that is all we have for this week. Thanks for listening.